Hello and welcome to episode number 86 of the Wise Guys podcast, Heinz Ward edition. We are here today to talk about the Cowboys making a big time move, the Denver Nuggets. Are they on fraud watch? We got a lot more though in the NBA. Speaking of New York Knicks, Justin, little heater maybe coming up with Jalen Brunson being back in the mix, but also the New Orleans Pelicans. Should they trade Zion Williamson? While the Sacramento Kings, Brandon, are steaming. You think they're pretenders? I beg to differ. We've got a little bit more of UFC 286 yesterday. Number 86, it's a special one. With all that being said, Sunday morning, 10:35 Eastern Standard Time.
Sunday morning, rain is falling. What's up, guys? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Had a good Saturday. Everybody, I just want to make a public service announcement. Go see Shazam 2. It's a good movie. You'll enjoy it.
He wants you to save it for the future.
I want you to just.
The future depends on you.
See the future. I like that saying. The future depends on it. Let's go, James Gunn.
And I'm feeling disrespected for anybody just tuning in. I don't know if John plans on posting the attack on baseball that.
This guy, he plays the victim all the time. Don't play the victim card, Justin.
Anyway, I was excited because last night, 8th inning, USA down 2 runs. Trey Turner steps up to the plate and hits a grand slam. Puerto Rico's out, so now I'm supporting the USA all the way. It's an exciting World Baseball Classic. If you ever get the chance, Brandon and John will stare at it like a statue and won't smile or feel the energy. But if you're watching, tune in to see that highlight of Trey Turner hitting the grand slam. That's probably the loudest Miami Marlins Stadium has been in a long time.
Oh.
I've got priorities, Justin, and one is March Madness.
You want to know something? Wait. He said the Miami Stadium. Wait, they're indoor. They're outdoors, right? They gotta be outdoors.
It's a retractable roof, but it was closed.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Because what's interesting is the UFC is returning to Miami, Florida for the first time on a pay-per-view, I believe, in 20 years. So I would like you, and it's Jorge Masvidal, Gamebred, one of my favorite fighters from 305, is going to be fighting. So you're going to have to tune into that and just listen to that crowd. I don't know, man.
Pumping crowd noise.
No pumping crowd noise. Don't disrespect.
The Cowboys have
acquired. About them Cowboys!
The Cowboys are acquiring the Archer for a 2023 fifth-round pick and a 2024 sixth-rounder. This comes after they acquired Stephon Gilmore from the Colts. You look at this Cowboys team, and 2 of their biggest issues last year were their cornerback 2 and their wide receiver 2. So these 2 acquisitions beg the question, with some of their recent extensions, are the Cowboys finally contenders now that they've gotten all the support for Dak Prescott holding in the playoffs? Brand, starting off with you, what do you think?
Are the Cowboys contenders? I do think currently standing, they're the best team in the NFC East. But it's close. I'm not gonna. Them and the Eagles are close. It's still the race is still on. The one thing about the Cowboys where I feel if they still had Kellen Moore, guys, I'd be really riding this train a lot harder. But they don't, and I just really don't have faith in Mr. Mike McCarthy calling plays. I don't have faith in him as a head coach. I don't have faith in him as an offensive coordinator. Last time he was calling plays, I believe Aaron Rodgers said this, or it was reported, whatever. The scheme became archaic. It was like there were cobwebs and dust all over him. So I don't know what that means for Dak. You guys know the stat I always love to pull out. In the time Kellen Moore was the offensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys, they were number 2 in total yards to only the Kansas City Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. And Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, I should mention. But, I love this move for the Cowboys. Brandin Cooks, they get that speedster. They have been lacking explosion. They lacked explosion all last year. Except for Tony Pollard. He provided that. But other than Pollard, the explosion wasn't really there. CD is more of a possession guy. He's going to make those tough, difficult catches. He's going to run his routes perfectly. But he's not yards after catch. He's not elite at it. So now they got that guy in Gallup. Obviously he was coming off the torn ACL. He should be back a lot better now. We should remember Gallup. That guy was really good 2 years ago. Now he's going to be another year healthier. They got 3 guys there. It's looking good. I just saw a report. Apparently, they're I deleted the report off my notifications, but apparently they restructured Brandin Cooks' contract. So that's good because I know he was making like 20 million a year, which is
It was a $26 million cap hit for this season.
yeah. So I think I saw them restructured. So they probably saved a little bit of money this year. They got to push it down the line, obviously. But yeah, and like I mentioned, I love the Stephon Gilmore move. They got 2 number 1 corners. I believe they got the best cornerback duo in the NFL. And if Jordan Lewis is able to get healthy and live up to the hype, that three-man trio right there, that's a pretty good 3-man trio for cornerbacks. They re-signed Leighton Vander Esch. You still got Micah, D-Law. So yeah, now they just got to fill up some other holes. They might draft a running back late, get a power guy, like I said, Thundering Lightning. Tony Pollard's coming off an injury, so I think it actually would be smart for them to draft a running back in the 3rd, maybe even 2nd round. But I love the move that Dallas is doing. It's just, man, all that good I just said. It's Mike McCarthy's calling plays. Damn it.
Mike McCarthy calling plays seems a little desperate to me, with things going on in Dallas. It seems like things need to go right for him to save face for his job. But I'm with you 100% when you throw in Kellen Moore. If you have Kellen Moore there, you feel so much more, I guess, optimistic about the move. And while regardless, adding Brandin Cooks into the fold is great for Dak Prescott. And I feel like personally, Brandin Cooks is one of the more underrated wide receivers in the game for a very long time. It's really hard to believe that he hasn't stuck around for a team. I think the longest that he's been with a team was his time with Houston. His 3 years in Houston and his 3 years with the Saints. And then since then, he's just been bouncing around. So, but he can put up 1,000 yards. He did it with Davis Mills. So I think this is an awesome addition for Dallas. It's just a matter of fact is, are we going to get a different version of Dak Prescott, the not so turnover friendly version of him? No Kellen Moore. This offense might look a little different, might scheme a little different. No Zeke Elliott for the first time in a long time. And that's so weird to say. Even though Tony Pollard exploded onto the scene, you lose that bruiser back that you had in Zeke in the red zone that you can count on.
No
So
Schultz either.
yeah, no Schultz. Is he just gone? They're not even attempting.
They haven't resigned. He's still a free agent. I think he probably cost too much money for him to get.
Yeah,
they might draft one. The class is pretty deep.
Class is deep. So no Schultz. Also, Schultz is a big target for Dak. There's still questions in Dallas. I'm not going to go and jump and say contender because, as I've said before, I feel like the same way we joke around about, you joke around about the Knicks saying we're going to Nick or the Jets are going to Jet. I kind of feel that way about the Cowboys where what can go wrong does go wrong. So the true test for them is I expect this team to make the playoffs no matter what. Adding a skill player of Brandin Cooks' caliber is explosive, but it comes down to playoff football, and hopefully Brandin Cooks is healthy for that.
This is the 4th time in Brandin Cooks' career he's been traded, and he's also been traded for 2 first-round picks in the past as well. This for the Cowboys is an absolute steal. You restructure his contract, so what it's going to be is the Texans are going to pay around $6 million of his $24 million. And so that for the Cowboys leaves him around 18, give or take, but the value that you're giving up is nothing. A day 3 pick this year and a day 3 pick next year. You add him to a wide receiver room where, as Brand said, you lacked the number 2. Michael Gallup in his 2nd season had 1,100 yards. Now he's coming off a torn ACL. He didn't look quite the same this year, but you make him your 3rd receiver. You draft Jake Ferguson last year in the 4th round of the draft. Even if you don't bring back Schultz like Brandon alluded to, this tight end class has about 6-7 guys who are all day 2 caliber. And of course, guys, some guys at the top of the class are going to be absolute beasts. So for Dallas, this offensively gives everything Dak Prescott needs. Ezekiel Elliott is replaceable. He's a short yardage, get me an extra first down, 3rd and 1 type of back. You can find that for much cheaper. So you give him 3 receivers, one of the most explosive running backs, an offensive line where last year you invested into it, you invested into the tackle spot. There are no more excuses for Dak Prescott, Cowboy fans. I've heard you ad nauseum talk about, Kellen Moore's not this good player. Caller, shut up. I don't want to hear it. All these other NFL teams have way larger offensive concerns. You guys give your quarterback everything he needs, and yet you still use a damn fine offensive coordinator as an excuse. It's lazy, and quite truth be told, it is misleading. Kellen Moore is not the sharpest play caller, but you have to take what you can get. And Mike McCarthy is going to be worse. For Dallas, that was so clear. They're using Kellen Moore as the scapegoat. He was not a bad offensive coordinator. Cowboy fans just want to portray him as that. That is misleading, it is unacceptable, and it's kind of frustrating as a Steeler fan who had to watch Matt Canada's last season. Kellen Moore is light years better, so I don't want to hear that nonsense. So when the Cowboys next year, Brandin Cooks get knocked down in the second rounds, what are we going to hear then? Fire Mike McCarthy. It's the same theme. The ultimate issue in Dallas is you're paying Dak Prescott a lot of money when he limits you at the end of the day. So I think this move is great for Dallas. You add that to Stephon Gilmore as your cornerback too, and things get scary. But I don't want to hear these damn excuses anymore because Cowboy fans love to use them, and I'm just sick and tired of it. It's so frustrating to hear. And I know they're going to use it this year, of course, with Mike McCarthy when inevitably they don't get it done in the end.
That's fair, but I mean,
is it not true?
It is, but it's also not. It's also true that what's held the Cowboys back is their head coaches. I mean, again, I hate to beat the dead horse, but I mean, Jason Garrett and Mike McCarthy, I mean, they're not the guys. We all know that. We know that. Mike McCarthy only won his Super Bowl because of Aaron Rodgers. I just feel like, again, I've always made this point. If you put a better head coach in Dallas that actually has an ability to speak for themselves and control a little bit, they'd be better off. They weren't. He didn't, I should say. Jerry didn't do that. He had a chance. Him and Sean Payton are really close. Apparently they're drinking buddies.
That's what I was going to say. You had the chance at Sean Payton. Any excuse of a head coach, you could have eliminated this offseason. Didn't do it.
And Payton's going to be the best head coach in the cycle in the next 2 or 3 years, probably.
Yeah, you're not getting. I mean, well, yeah, John Harbaugh if he ever decides to come up, but yeah.
Jim, be careful with that.
Jim, sorry, I always.
One last thing, Brandin Cooks. Brandin Cooks might be the most underrated receiver of the 2010s. 6 1,000-yard seasons. Did it with 4 different teams. A myriad of quarterbacks I can't even name to you. He did it with Davis Mills. He did it in New England with Tom Brady, as you guys saw. He did it in New Orleans with Drew Brees. And now he's going to do it again with Dak Prescott. I really do like what Cooks brings to the table, and we saw that dimension with T.Y. Hilton for one game particularly against the Eagles, where that Philadelphia defense had trouble on Christmas Eve really containing the Cowboys down the field, especially with their zone coverage looks. T.Y. for one possession took it over the top, I think on 3rd down. Cooks is going to bring that on a week-in, week-out basis. He's older. He's 29 years old, but he's still at the end of his prime. And for the next 2 years for Dallas, I just can't speak to enough.
Is he really 29, John? He's not
29. He was drafted in 2014. I think this move really does in the regular season. Like Brian said, it can make you the best team. It can make you the team to be in the East, which is a step in the right direction. Are the Cowboys pretenders or contenders? Let me just say this. They are a contender to make it to the, we'll say, NFC Championship game, right? That's reasonable. But
that's their ceiling?
I think that's their ceiling. There's like San Francisco, Jimmy Garoppolo.
What's the expectation for you?
Oh, definitely an NFC Championship game.
Divisional round.
Well, so if their if their ceiling is NFC Championship game and their expectations are NFC Championship game, I would think
the NFC is a top-heavy conference. There's 3 teams.
I don't know. That's why I think
I think their ceiling is NFC Championship game. My expectation is getting knocked out in divisional round or wild card round.
My expectation is divisional round. Their expectation is Super Bowl, but it really will be the NFC Championship game.
I mean, it's going to be interesting what they do in the draft, though. They've done very well the last several seasons, honestly. Like I said before, since Stephen Jones has really taken over, so they've done a freaking great job in the draft. So it'll be interesting what they do this year.
Mostly, I look at their 2016 class where they took a running back over Jalen Ramsey and then Jalen Smith or Derrick Henry. But
that's their one blunder that they yes. Other than that, I mean, Tyron Smith, Zach Martin.
Yeah, they've nailed.
Travis Frederick. What happened?
Taking Taco Carlton over TJ Watt.
Yeah,
There's gonna be misses. You can't hit every year.
You're right, but those 2
Steven,
years.
listen, the one thing you got to say is Stephen Jones being able to talk his father out of not taking Johnny Manziel and taking Zach Martin is just genius in and of itself. Okay,
We'll leave that to Jimmy Haslam.
They were gonna freaking do it in the first round, and then I guess Steven was like, "No, we can't do it." They got a Hall of Fame guard out of it, so
it pays off. Yep. I expect the same things from the Cowboys. I don't, unless they show me something this season that is so astronomically better than what they've put out the last couple of years. My expectations for the Cowboys will always be the same.
it's fair.
So
The only reason I go a little hard for the Cowboys is because I see them get so much hate. So I kind of like,
the thing is, I would love to see them win. Like, I used to enjoy watching those Tony Romo led teams when Dak came up as a rookie. Those are fun groups to watch. And honestly, if you're not just a regular Cowboys hater, I don't know how you didn't enjoy watching the Cowboys at those times. But as of right now, like I said, it's the same song and dance. We see the same things. We see the same failures over and over again. It's like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. They do the same thing come playoff time. Nothing changes. Nothing changes. So, like I said, Cowboys are going to be the same in my eyes unless they do something astronomically different.
Unless Mike McCarthy gets replaced by an actual good head coach.
So you talked about, Justin, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again.
Expecting different results, though.
And expecting a different result. I think that's where the New Orleans Pelicans find themselves.
True.
In December, they were the #1 seed. And now I saw a statistic on Cleaning the Glass where when Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum were on the floor this year with Zion, their net rating is at the top of the league. But when Zion is off in those BI and CJ McCollum minutes, their net rating is a -13, which is the worst in the NBA. So the difference with Zion on and the difference with Zion off is you're up here and you're downstairs. Zion Williamson is in year 4 of his career, right? He got the max extension this last offseason. Many people are skeptical. Would he even want to sign it? Would he want to stay in New Orleans? The storyline was that Zion wasn't happy, right, in the Bayou. The story now is not if Zion wants to be in New Orleans. It's if should the Pelicans trade Zion Williamson. Through 4 seasons, Zion has played a total of 114 games. He played 24 games as a rookie, 61 as a sophomore, 0 in 2022, and has played 29 this season. It's not a matter of how great a player Zion is, because he is remarkable. But at 23, 22 years old, missing over half your games is not only a problem, that is a red flag that you have to trade him. Justin, you're a Knicks fan. A lot of people have rumored him to the Knicks in the past to play in MSG. Would you touch Zion with a 10-foot pole? And if so, how much would you give up? Should the Pelicans look to trade him before it's maybe too late?
So, looking at, you pointed out games played, which is the big number here. I think RJ has played over 260 and Ja around the same, I'd say 240-ish. I have Zion's right here, 114 total games played in his NBA career within 3 seasons. That is very, very bad. And I get it. This is a real superstar. This is a guy, when he's on the floor and he's healthy, he's an absolute game changer. There's a reason those Pels were the #1 seed with him on the floor. It was not a fluke. It's because that's their expectation when he's out there. The problem is he's never out there. And it's starting to, I hate saying injury prone sometimes because some guys really just go through some freak injuries. But this is as obvious as it gets. This guy straight up is injury prone. So if you're a franchise and you're going to, throw however many draft picks and you're going to trade away your future for a guy that you don't even know has a future with your organization. Honestly, I would have loved to see him in the last year and going into the draft. I had that thought process of, man, Zion, RJ in the Garden. I'm getting off of that train. I'm just going to say, keep building what we're building. Unless the price is low, which it's not going to be, I'll stay away. Until he proves that he can stay healthy, I don't see the risk.
So, yeah.
Would you do it, Brandon?
Trade for him?
Yeah, is it worth the risk?
I mean, it depends what I'm giving up, to be honest with you.
All right, I want 3 first-round picks and 2 quality young players. David Griffin.
No, no,
Just 3 first-round picks,
no,
only unprotected.
no.
Just.
No, because I just listen. Like John said, that we know this guy is a stud, bro. His rookie season, a short sample size, but averaging 22 points. His second season where he played 61 games, 27 points is just, I mean, that's outlandish. But you mentioned how many games he did play, Justin. So games that he could have played in, 246. That means he missed 132 games in his first 3 seasons. That's more than a season and a half, basically. It's at this point, I don't know what it is. I know I'm looking at his weight on ESPN right now, the app. I don't know if this is factually correct. Maybe it's not. It's probably not. I think he'd actually probably be more because he's been off for so long and they probably haven't weighed him or updated this. I don't know. 284 is what it says. I would say he's probably more close to 295 because he's not been playing.
6'6", 284.
It's that's too much, man. That's too much. Like I said, I would like him to be more around 260.
I think that's probably where he is at, to be honest with you. He has slimmed down.
If you could prove it, I'll believe it. But at this point, I can't believe that, John. I'm sorry. He's been off playing. He's only rehabbing. I don't see how he could have slimmed down that much. If anything, usually when you are rehabbing like that, you gain more weight. I look at Conor McGregor, broke his leg. He's up to 190, 195, and he's usually 160, 165. You bulk up usually because you're not working out like you used to. I can't see him less than 280 right now. I can't. I think he's more towards 290 plus. And if that's the case, I'm sorry. I hate to do this, but you need to, you're making millions of dollars. You need to hire a great nutritionist if that's the case. If you can't lose the weight, you got to. And if you can prove to me that he has slimmed down and he's 260, I'll shut my mouth. But I can't believe it until I see that.
When you watch him play, though, his size, his cumulative strength is what makes him the best volume scorer since Shaq in the paint.
But it also makes him so injury prone because I've talked about that much force going up and down, how many times up and down the court, diagonal and side to side, and all these lateral movements. It's just not good on the body. You have to lose the weight. His closest comparison was Charles Barkley. And what happened to Barkley? He broke down later in his career because too much.
Yeah, Chuck broke down in his 30s. Zion's breaking down at 22.
That's even worse. That's what I'm saying. So you need it because Chuck was slimmer in his early days. Zion needs to slim down is what I'm saying. Hire a great nutritionist. Get on a strict diet.
That's what amazes me so much about LeBron, how much money he invests in his body throughout the offseason. And it makes me wonder, do other players, and while I get it, maybe they're not in the same tax bracket as LeBron, but
they make good money though.
They make good money where I feel like you can, hire
100%.
some of the best trainers, and you play in the NBA, you already have some of the best trainers.
You have access to a facility.
So I'm not even gonna get on the guy because of his weight, because like John said, that's part of what made him such a dominant force. But at the same time, it makes me wonder, okay, with all these injuries, Zion's a big man, but he's 6'6", so he doesn't stack up next to the guys that are 6'9", 6'10". He can jump with them, but what happens when your legs aren't there anymore? When you don't have that bounce, what is your game if you're not that explosive player anymore? You don't shoot the ball at an insane clip, so it's not. You'd be losing what makes you special. So Zion, it's very concerning because if I'm a team and I want to invest future capital in this guy, I don't know what version of him I'm going to have in 3 seasons. At his age, I'm expecting to have championship contender like, potential.
Number one.
And I don't know if you're going to get that, because if you're going to sell that many picks, you need that guy healthy come April and come May, come June.
Yep.
but there's no guarantee he'd even give you 40 games in a season.
What I want to say to that LeBron point is, and it's something we learned about LeBron actually in the Team USA, the Redeem Team documentary. LeBron didn't take care of his body as much as he does now. Even in when was that a Redeem Team? 2008.
Yep.
So for the first 5 years of his career, he said it himself, because they took on Kobe's part, where Kobe was waking up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. in the morning, and guys weren't up. And then eventually D Wade and LeBron started showing up with them. And then they even showed a clip of Carmelo cracking a joke saying, "Oh, these guys getting up that early. I ain't getting up that early." And then you laugh with it, but then you realize, oh, that's why you broke down later on in your career. You didn't take care of your body well enough. And you could see it clearly. So LeBron made that decision. Dwayne Wade made that decision. Now, Wade was different because he just threw caution to the wind and destroyed his body. But LeBron took care of it. And LeBron had just a God-given ability, if you want to call it. Just, he's Iron Man. He didn't get hurt. He didn't. His only injury that kept him out was in his junior, senior year of high school that he talks about, where he broke his hand or his arm or something in football. He didn't, and besides that, in basketball, he wasn't getting hurt. No. Like, you would see LeBron twist his ankle or something like that. He'd be down. You'd expect him, oh, LeBron's going to get back up. LeBron's going to get back up. But for Zion, it's just like, you're right. You can't, I mean, what are you going to, I feel like the Pelicans are stuck. How many years left does he have on his contract, John?
It's just kicking in now, Brian.
He signed
starting next season in 2024.
Oh, damn. And that's going to be his big boy contract, right? Because he's probably on his rookie deal right now.
$193 million with no All-NBA. $231 million, which is 30% of the cap, if he makes All-NBA. Now, Zion this year has played 29 games. He would be close to first team, honestly, with Anthony Davis's injuries, if he were healthy. Because in the 29 games he played, the Pelicans were at the top of the Western Conference. This is kind of the issue. So they actually have a provision in this contract. If he's over 295, that's bad. That's bad news. He can't be over 295, and his body fat percentage has to be at a certain point. I say all of that just because it's in the contract. So the New Orleans Pelicans start the year 24-14, looking really good. Since then, they have dropped below 500 to the 12th seed in the Western Conference. They're, I can't believe this, 9-23 in their last 32 games. Brandon Ingram has dealt with injuries. This year he had the foot contusion, or the toe, one of the two. And Zion has perennially missed time. What do you do if you're the Pelicans in this situation? Because you have one of the most bright duos, under 24, 25 years old, but they've played less than 60 games together, or 70, in 4 years.
John, I do want to say, so he hasn't signed obviously the rookie extension. It's an upcoming contract extension, but it's up there. I'm if I'm reading Spot Track right. And that weight provision is in that rookie extension. So if he hasn't signed it yet, because it's saying it last summer. Yeah, it's saying estimate. So I guess he's eligible this summer. So he hasn't signed it yet. So
no, he signed it. It's a matter if he makes All-NBA or not. That's why it's estimating.
Okay, all right. So he did. All right. Well then, I don't know what the Pelicans are gonna do. They're stuck with it. I can't help you now. They're stuck with him.
Man, definitely a tough situation.
Who
would have thought going into that draft that at this point today we'd be saying R.J. Barrett and Ja Morant have been more impactful to their team success than.
Well, R.J. Barrett settled down.
Yeah, R.J. Barrett, come on, chill out.
I'll
give you.
Zion is
he's available.
He's on the floor. But
yeah, but
okay, you know what?
Success.
You know what, Justin? Let's do this. Would you rather have Zion Williamson or Reggie Bullock? Because Reggie Bullock's more available.
I want a guy that's going to play.
But you want him to be good.
Justin.
Yes, I want him to be good. But okay, don't compare Reggie Bullock to R.J. Barrett.
Reggie Bullock's a better complimentary piece than R.J.
First off, R.J. Barrett has gotten better. I'm not going to turn Justin. We are not turning
Justin.
The Knicks thing.
No, I got you. I'm not going to come at you. I'm not going to come at you. I see your point, but I think you're misconstruing. But when Zion is available, they are successful, so he does apply stuff to
correct.
But I understand availability. I understand that point, but you said who applies more to their winning success of their team? Zion when he's on the court.
When he's on the court. Okay, but that's the thing.
Zion's
He's not on the floor.
And RJ's like the third or fourth most important player on the Knicks. I mean, come on, let's be honest.
Actually, I'd say he's the third most important player on the Knicks. I wouldn't even debate
it. Quickly is more valuable.
As much, and here we go into the Knicks thing. RJ has played very well of late, and Tibbs gave him a lot of credit when he's not fading away and fading from the basket. When he's slashing, he's getting the job done. That's what makes him most dangerous. And he has played very efficient basketball of late and good defense. So, and you make that face. Look at his stat line, John. Don't make that.
I make that face, Justin, because yes, he's played well the last 4 or 5 games, but Zion's a generational player, so RJ's incomparable. I want to ask a better question.
Talent.
This is not talent. This is production. This is impact.
No. Zion is a generational talent. Player would mean he's actually on the court producing at a high level consistently. He's not. He's a talent right now.
But he's been historically good when he is on the floor.
Again, John, 30, I get what 35, you're saying. 40% I get what you're saying, but he's not on the court. If he was on the court, I'd not be debating this point, but he's not on the court, so I'd have to go talent. Because I need to see consistency. I have to.
I got a question. Knowing what you know now, okay, you're back in that draft room, and you have the future right in front of you, and it says Zion is going to miss this many games. Brandon, you have the first pick. John, you have the second. What are you doing?
Which draft was this again?
2019.
2019? All right, let me just refresh my memory on everything.
Ja Morant?
I know Ja Morant, obviously. I mean, Ja Morant would be the number 1 pick.
Okay.
I take Garland over RJ.
No, that's fine.
You taking the first pick.
I'm taking Ja with the first. Ja's going number 1. Ja's going number 1.
With the second overall pick, I'm torn between Zion and Darius. If I get the right training staff that can help Zion really.
No, you don't. I have the future right in front of you.
Staff.
I have the future right. You have the future right in front of you. So you have to pick now.
I'm taking Darius Garland with the second overall pick.
Okay. Who would you take with the third?
If I'm the Knicks, I'm taking Zion without a doubt.
Even, it's not even a question. Even knowing the future?
Because if Zion can, let's say he gets his body into a position where he slimmed out a little bit more, you can say he gets more healthy in time, and you get a 2 or 3 year peak of a top 5, top 10 player in the NBA. That is worth a lot more than any other player in this draft class, besides the 2 players we just mentioned.
I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I would take DeAndre Hunter over RJ Barrett.
Okay,
I might too.
And then again, that's fine. But I'm asking when do you see yourself? You don't see yourself. None of you guys are drafting Zion in that top 3.
No,
I would take him at 2 maybe.
John would take that chance.
And that's exactly why you'll be whatever team you're in control of is going to be stuck in the lottery every single year. Because
we've got Jaren Jackson. Jaren Jackson and Zion would be a filthy duo. But I took Darius Garland.
They would have been a filthy duo. Imagine drafting a player where you're like, oh wow, Jaren Jackson, Zion Williamson. That's going to be a filthy duo. Nice. And then it just ends up Jaren Jackson. How satisfied are you with your team?
You're not.
You're not. So that's why I ask you this question, because when I'm saying they always say ability is the best ability. And while that can be overblown, because like John said, that's a generational talent right there in Zion Williamson. Wow. But as much as you guys can knock RJ, the guy's producing. He's playing good basketball right now, and he's been a part of 2 now Knicks playoff teams. That means something to an organization.
They've done that in spite of RJ this year.
Oh, stop it.
Yes. RJ Barrett is shooting 19% from 3 in his last 6-7 games.
Yeah, John,
he's not shooting threes anymore. We're not trying. We don't have him shooting.
Justin, he's not in the right role. The Knicks need someone that can knock down threes and play quality defense. RJ's gotten better defensively, but as a shooter, he is piss poor. That was before the finger injury, and it's been after. He can't shoot a lick. And you know what? I think he's a good young player in the wrong role, but let's be honest here. The Knicks' most important players goes in this order. Jalen Brunson 1, Julius Randle 2, Emmanuel Quickley 3, Quentin Grimes and Mitchell Robinson 4 and 5. RJ Barrett would be 6. Right after him would be Josh Hart's. So he's not even one of the 5 most necessary players to the Knicks' success, because they've done that in spite of his lack of shooting and floor spacing.
Brandon, and I was told, we're staying away from the Knicks today. And John wants to talk about the Knicks. RJ dropped 30 against the Lakers. I didn't hear a peep out of you.
27 shot attempts.
I didn't hear a peep.
Congratulations.
Drops 30 in a W.
He shot 1 of 8 from 3. Justin.
Against the Blazers, 8 of
13%.
Efficient game, 22 points in a W. Great defense. Against the Nuggets, number 1 seed in the West, even though you may think they're frauds. RJ Barrett, what did he do? Showed up. Another 8 of 13, 21 points. Good defense.
Let's look at the entire season. RJ Barrett's
Why are we looking at the entire season?
Because he is in year 4. He has a point guard. He has shooting. He has defenders. And Tom Thibodeau is this great coach, according to some of you. So here's the thing. RJ's averaging 19.9 points per game, a tick under 20 points. And he's also doing that on 53% true shooting. The league average is 57. That is awful. 53% true shooting when your career average is 52 is terrible. Horrible. And defensively, his motor waxes and wanes. He is one of the most inconsistent young players in the league. I think he would be great in a place like Toronto, where they can give him a main role and he can be a do-it-yourself creator the way we saw last season. But RJ can't complement players at the highest levels. I don't think he has ever. And you know what? That's okay to accept. But we can't just go around tooing the guys who weren't, because he had an 8 of 13 game versus the Portland Trail Blazers, who aren't even trying to win games with the 4th worst defense in the NBA. I do not care about that. You know what RJ is? RJ is a March warrior. He's great in March, and he doesn't show up in April. That's what he is.
Okay. Till then, I'm not even going to argue, because you just have something against RJ Barrett.
I'm speaking the truth. You want to hear it. I'm trying to tell you now ahead of time in the playoffs.
Because you denied from last season the improvements that RJ has made, and I have acknowledged his flaws in shooting. He is an inconsistent shooter. His field goal percentage is never going to look impressive. But as of late, he's taken a step back, like I said, from shooting the 3 and taking the shots that he needs to take. He's playing a more efficient basketball. And I'm telling you, these last 2 games against Portland and the Nuggets were not a fluke of how he's producing. This is what you should expect out of RJ the rest of the season. I guarantee it.
You also didn't mention he's still not a great finisher. Still got to work on it. And part of his issue, he's gotten worse from last season. Like, if he improved, I would say hell yeah. But in the offseason, he said, you know what? I'm going to start bench pressing basketballs into the basket. And so he lost his agility. He lost his short area quickness. And now he's a slower player. I think we'll get that back and he'll be better next season. But you have to acknowledge he is a slower player now than was last season. Less athletic, less, I guess it's contortion, shift, change of gear, whatever word you want to use. Wiggle, right? So he's lost some of that by being in the weight room too much. But RJ Barrett, Justin, is a 38% mid-range shooter. That's his career high. He is 59% at the rim. That's piss poor. 32% from 3. He's efficient at no level of the floor. And he's not a great playmaker. That was one of his biggest strengths, I thought, coming to the draft.
Well, as I've said, he's improved of late. He's playing better basketball. And most importantly, the Knicks are winning.
What happens in April? If if RJ underperforms in the playoffs, what should be the storyline on him?
He's replaceable.
Get rid of RJ.
Yeah, he's replaceable.
I think either way they should get rid of RJ. He should be the piece that they use to try and get.
I agree.
Terrible fit.
I mean, I feel like it would be awesome if that would be a luxury if we could have him on as a second unit player and get somebody that can actually score at the position, like light up the scoreboard big time. But it's all right. Where we're at right now is in a good spot, and I'm sure next season we'll be in a better.
Hey, look, the Knicks got back Jalen Brunson, Justin. I like what they've got going on for them, but it's just a matter of RJ needs to change the scenery, and the Knicks need a more complimentary small forward.
That's fair. I'll agree, but I'm not going to take RJ disrespect. Because he has played better.
let's change gears though, guys.
Yeah.
You know,
Play better.
we're supposed to talk about the Knicks. So we'll talk about the
You
Knicks.
see? Did I do it? You see, Brandon?
Let's change it.
You brought up RJ Barrett relative to Zion, insinuating you would take RJ over a generational player. And that's why I said, no, Justin, you do not do that. You will get yourself fired. If you have the exact rubric of what's about to go down and you still take RJ, you're bugging.
You're bugging.
You're bugging because you said you'll take him with the number 2 pick.
Yeah, I would. I'd take him with number 3. I'd take him with number 4. If if he can stay healthy, the best player from this draft class.
The Pelicans wish they can go back to 2019 to take Ja.
Well, what they could have done, they could have took Zion, and then instead of trading the 4th overall pick, they could have, I don't know, taken Darius Garland or moved up and gotten Ja. You know.
I'm done with you.
Just saying how it is. So one team the Knicks beat last night, right, and the Denver Nuggets, they've fallen off a cliff in some ways. Now, they're still the number 1 seed by 3.5 games. Denver has lost 5 of their last 6 games. And as a Nuggets fan, you can see the Jokic jersey in the back. You're going to ask the question, what's going on here? We've actually built a little bit of a Jokic following on this podcast, which I love. I've talked about all the time on my YouTube channel. The issue in Denver, to no one's surprise, has been defense. The last 6 games, they have given up in points per 100 possessions, 125, 106 versus the Pistons, the worst team in basketball. They're a joke of an offense. They got Killian Hayes at that point. 136 to the Toronto Raptors, which is hideous. 128 to the Brooklyn Nets. 122 to the Spurs, who you lost to. And 115 to the Toronto Raptors. You won that game. Since they played in Memphis earlier this month on the 3rd, they have not looked the same defensively. They aren't trying. And offensively, it's been a little bit harder to play when the opposing team is just getting that momentum sooner. They're getting more shots to go in, and they're getting more and more juice, a little bit more confidence. The question is, are the Nuggets a fraudulent number 1 seed? Are they a team that we should expect to go to the finals? And if not, can we look at them or can we look at the Western Conference and just say, hey, look, Denver has been the beneficiary of one of the worst West we've seen in the last couple of decades. Maybe, is this the worst Western Conference in terms of the top end talent we've seen in the last 40, 50 years?
No. I just think that this Western Conference is one of the most inconsistent Western Conferences we've seen, because we came into the season saying the West is back, but then the West just got hit with a lot of the teams just dealt with things that were out of their hands. The Clippers were the same old story, was injuries and continuity. The Warriors just did not look the same on the road. We still haven't figured out why, and they dealt with injuries throughout the season. You got the Lakers, who've LeBron and AD have been in and out, and they had to deal with Russell Westbrook earlier in the season. You got all these teams, and I'm probably missing some. We just talked about the Pelicans with Zion.
The Warriors.
Yeah, the Warriors. Yep. It's been an inconsistent whirlwind for the West. But as for the Nuggets, man, I was looking at it earlier. Yeah, their defense. Maybe their team defense is rated high or something for the entire league, but when you look individually, Jamal Murray still coming off the torn ACL. He was a good defender when he was healthy, but he's still recovering, so he's not going to be the same player right now. You got to give him a little bit more time. Everybody knows the defense is the thing that takes the longest to get back. Klay Thompson's the perfect example of that. So you got to wait for him to get back. Jokic, we all know Jokic is not a good defender, and he doesn't really try at all. And he's really limited with his lack of athleticism, to be honest with you. Then you've got Michael Porter Jr. He ain't no goddamn defender. He's somebody you want to attack on defense. You got Aaron Gordon, who might try his ass off, but he's not a good defender either. KCP is the guy on the in the starting lineup that you're like is the 3-and-D guy. But he's not a Tony Allen or something like that. He's a good defender. He can get the job done, KCP, but he's not some great time defender. Go ahead.
I do want to correct you. I agree with everything you said. Aaron Gordon is a good defender. He's got the size, the physical tools, and he's got the motor. It's just a matter of, individually make a great point. They're only good defenders, like clear plus, are AG, KCP, Bruce Brown, and Christian Brown, the rookie out of Kansas, who's their seventh man off the bench, but his offensive game just hasn't been utilized correctly in their lineups. So I just want to add that point.
Yeah, but it's just like when we get to the playoffs, we all know it's you really rely on a 7-man. Sometimes they go 8-man lineup, and it's mostly your starting 5 that you really depend on. They play the majority, 35, 38 minutes. So when you got the Nuggets out there, I mean, all right, fine. If you want to bump Aaron Gordon from a serviceable defender to a good defender, that's fine. That's still not. It's just like KCP and Aaron Gordon are your guys on defense. It's not looking good, especially when you've got guys like Jamal Murray who can get taken advantage of because of his injury, still coming back from getting healthy, Michael Porter Jr. and Jokic. That's not looking good. So I do have to bring this up though. I do feel with their struggles of late, the MVP race is opened back up. I think it's a real. I thought it was done, but listen, Jokic, Embiid, and Giannis. That's 3-man race right there. It's going to come down to close. You can start making the arguments now because right now Philly and Milwaukee both have better records than Denver. So Giannis is outscoring Jokic by about 7 points, I think. Embiid's outscoring him almost by 10 points. Obviously, Jokic's got the assist. It's 9.9 now, though. It's not the beautiful 10 that everybody likes. Embiid's shooting better from the free throw line.
Jokic is way more efficient than them.
64% from the field. Yeah, I know. 39% from 3, which is great for a big man. But then again, you got Embiid on the defense, who I think is averaging close to 2 steals a game and over a block a game. So you give and take with all that stuff. I'm telling, it's gonna be, it's opening back up. I think I really do think the discussion is opened back up with their struggles as of late.
I think so. I wouldn't say that Denver's a fraudulent number 1 seed. I'll say a vulnerable one. That's for sure. Going into the season, I think we all expected Denver to be a contender in the West, regardless of how strong we viewed the West going into the season. Yeah, defense is a problem, but there are plenty of teams in the West that have defensive problems. I mean, forget defensive problems, health problems too. So I wouldn't say fraudulent. I think teams like Sacramento are making themselves very, you know, open in this conversation of who's a true contender in the West. I think Phoenix, once they get Kevin Durant back, whenever he shows up, might change your mind. Same with Ja Morant. So I wouldn't say I think Denver's still in a decent spot. Just a cold spell. It's March right now. If you get hot come April, you'd probably be talking about this Denver team a little different.
Last year's defending champions, the Warriors are under 500 to end the season. And a team like Philadelphia always goes in these heaters every single year. They always lose in the second round. So with Denver, are they fraudulent? No. We know who the Nuggets are. But there's one issue with the Nuggets not enough people outside the market of Denver talk about. And that's Michael Malone. Michael Malone did the most important thing. That was building his offense around Nikola Jokic in his second season. Bravo. Malone's one of the better coaches in the league. But to win at the highest levels, your coach needs to be a little bit more than just one of the better coaches in the league. Rotationally, the Nuggets have been a mess. I look at Christian Brown, who I talked about before. He's Alex Caruso with hair. The issue is offensively, he's not much of a shooter. He's made like probably 10 threes this season. He can shoot it. There's no reason he shouldn't be playing every single minute with Jokic. Because when you pair up a really good cutter and a smart off-ball player with Nikola, he's going to get them going. He's going to get them good looks. He's going to feed them. He's going to find them. Defensively, Brown is really the perfect backup to Aaron Gordon. Malone needs to get this rotation stuff figured out. But he does. The reason why Jokic's advanced stats look so pretty, this is why a lot of people love to hate on him, don't understand. Malone will usually go to these bench lineups where it's just one starter and then 4 reserves. The Nuggets don't have a good bench. You have Bruce Brown, who often starts around PJ, Brown, and then Jeff Green, and that's it. That's all you got. That's it. Thomas Bryant hasn't been good. Reggie Jackson's not making shots. You can't play them in the playoffs. So not only do you have a lack of depth, you have a coach not utilizing that top end talent collectively well enough. Offensively, the Nuggets are phenomenal. They get enough shots at the rim. They have the best playmaking hub in basketball. They have scoring from all three position groups, and they have infinite shooting off the catch. Amazing offensively, but in the playoffs, the same way the Kings have the worst rim protection in the NBA, and we'll talk about them in a bit, the Kings are very limited. The Nuggets are also limited because Jokic, for as much as he may have great moments defensively, he's average. He's an average defender. And in regular season games where he's not trying, he's a bad defender. He's been bad defensively this year. He's coasted in, he's mailed it. The MVP race is Embiid's loose. He's now the MVP frontrunner. Partially because, as a Jokic fan, I'm tired of people trying to tear the guy down. We're watching two generational centers, and all people want to do is just break them apart. I think that's inconsiderate and irresponsible. Irresponsible is the only way you can put it. People won't appreciate Jokic's greatness, his playmaking, his efficiency, and really his selflessness. Most selfless superstar I've seen since Steph and Tim Duncan. That's how we should view him, not this fraudulent MVP. And so I just want to get that out of the way. Embiid has played enough games this year. The Sixers are on a roll. Give him it. He deserves it. So then when he gets knocked down in the second rounds of people, I guess, I don't really care about what people say. But, Embiid also has never made it to the conference finals. And he's had actual all-star teammates many different times. Jokic has never had that. So I want people to come correct. He makes this a 50-win caliber team. Now, they've fallen off recently, but you can't put that on Jokic. That his team doesn't have a bench. Their head coach hasn't made the best lineups. And the third thing is he doesn't have the most defensive support. We'll talk about the Kings in a little bit. Do you guys think the Nuggets this year come out the West?
I'll tell you this. Listen, I'm still riding. Like if right now they're number one, I think they're gonna finish number one. But I'm telling you, man, if they match up with the healthy Lakers in the first round, that could be very much trouble for the Denver Nuggets. A healthy AD, LeBron, D'Angelo Russell.
Playoff choke artist?
Who's the playoff choke artist?
Elo.
But he's not asked to be the main guy. That LeBron and AD are there.
He wasn't the main guy in Minnesota either. And
Yeah,
last
but
year in the playoffs,
with
he was idiots.
you're probably playing with the greatest teammate of all time in LeBron James at the same time. So
We've seen players play poorly with that
He has
greatest
to be the
teammate of all
third-
time in
he
the
has to be
playoffs.
the-
That's Kyle Kuzma.
We have
He was running
seen-
out of town.
We have.
fair.
But still, I think, who's guarding LeBron on Denver?
Aaron Gordon, he's actually a great matchup for Brown.
Right.
Phenomenal.
Who's
I have to
guarding
admit.
AD?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jokic is. Yeah, good luck with that. And AD can guard Jokic on the other end. If AD's motor is running high and he's freaking motivated and he's ready to play, AD can guard Jokic. He matches up well with Jokic, I should say. He's not going to stop him. Maybe he can give him one bad game, but he can make it hard and make him work for those buckets. So I'm just saying they match up well, very well.
I would love to see that as a first round matchup. Oh, that would get so exciting. But for me, no, I don't have Denver coming out of the West. I'm sticking with my pick. If Kevin Durant is healthy, I'm still going to roll with the Suns.
You guys, man,
That's what I'm saying, man. I didn't say they're not. I'm just right now I can't pick because of Denver's recent struggles and their their defensive struggles. Sacramento, I still don't believe that they're there yet, but they might be able to sneak in because of how inconsistent and wobbly this West is. Memphis, I don't see it. Phoenix, again, the KD, is he going to come back? And when he is back, is he going to look the same? We expect him to because he has the last two times, but third time's the charm. It may be in reverse this time. The Clippers, they're still dealing with stuff, and I'm not a big fan of the Westbrook move. I don't think that it adds for them. I think it takes away. Dallas, they're still dealing with they got no defense, and Luka's injured right now. Golden State, inconsistent. Minnesota, inconsistent and no cat. LA, they need LeBron back. We don't know how healthy he is. All those teams have big questions. So the West is really open.
You know what I'm going to say to you, Brent?
Yep.
The Western Conference, in my lifetime as an NBA fan, has never been more wide open. And that's exactly why the one team that everybody's overlooking, the Memphis Grizzlies, can make it to the finals this year. The Mavericks, it's not their year. The Warriors, Andrew Wiggins, wishing him the best. We don't know if he'll come back. So the Warriors are a massive question.
Mm-hmm.
The Mavericks, even bigger. They're not a contender. The Suns are missing their most important piece. The Nuggets are playing their worst basketball. The Kings are legit, but they've got some deficiencies. They can be beaten. And then after that, you've got the Grizzlies. The Clippers are frauds. The Clippers have a lot of issues. The Grizzlies, though, without Ja Morant, have won 5 of their last 6 games. Pardon me. We look at Ja Morant, a playoff superstar, with Jaren Jackson, who's playing his best basketball his last 3 games. You talk about players who are balling out, Justin. 25, 28, 31. He can shoot at the center position. He's also a player that defensively is one of the most versatile. So I look at this Memphis Grizzlies team. They have a good head coach in Taylor Jenkins, a playoff superstar, and the level of defense that no other team in the Western Conference has. This is their year. I thought when the trade deadline happened, their window closed. But now you look at the Western Conference, because of all of the injuries, a rift has opened, and the Memphis Grizzlies, they might just go slide through that door.
This is the last time we're going to do this till playoff time. John, are you saying the Memphis Grizzlies are going to the NBA Finals? Is this your pick?
No.
Okay.
Because it's just not real.
My pick's the Denver Nuggets.
Okay.
It's just not real. I mean, it's going to be right now they're matched up with Dallas. That'll be a great series if Dallas is healthy and Ja Morant is there. But that'll be more like a defensive team in Memphis versus an offensive team in Dallas. So that'll be a great series to match up with. But we'll see. I just don't think Memphis. I think even though the other teams have questions and concerns, Memphis is still just a tier below for me.
I think
Especially if they got no
Ja.
Ja. If they got no Ja, they're going nowhere.
Well, they will have Ja.
Ja's coming back now.
No, I know that. I'm just saying.
As long as he's healthy, yes. But he should be there. I expect the Memphis Grizzlies to make a little bit of noise in the playoffs, but I still do expect them to be bounced. I don't know. They just become the villain of the NBA, and while I love chaos, so I'm going to root for them come playoff time, I don't see them going as far as they did last season.
Last season, they could have beaten the Warriors if Ja Morant didn't get help.
Could have.
Yeah.
That was second round, right?
Yeah.
Could have, should have.
I mean, they gave them a better series than the Celtics, who was.
John, you like regular season basketball. How'd Memphis look against Golden State Christmas Day when they called them out?
Buddy
what? Buddy.
How have they looked the last 2 times they played them? Their last game versus the Warriors, they won by 14 points without Ja Morant. Steph was on the floor. He had his worst game since he returned. Steph shot 5 of 15. Dillon Brooks had himself a perfect game from 3-point range. The last 2 times they played the Warriors, they won by 21 points and 14 points. The Grizzlies can beat the Warriors in a series. And you know what? If Andrew Wiggins is not playing it, I'm favoring them because they're the better team. Last year, they took him to 6 games. Ja Morant missed half the series.
Yep.
Jaren Jackson was coming off. No, he's coming off multiple injuries. He came off.
Hey, Dillon Brooks. Hey, Dillon Brooks. I'm going to do what Clay did. Look at me. Yeah. Don't make me give you the 5-second countdown.
That was amazing. I thought that was hysterical.
Yeah. Let's talk about another team you're apparently on the bandwagon for. That's
Brandon. I think you're overlooking the Sacramento Kings. I told you coming in the season, De'Aaron Fox is a rising superstar, partially in jest, but De'Aaron Fox this year has played at the level of a superstar. In clutch time, he's shooting 55% from the field. He has the most points with 180. He's hit 3 game winners, but it's not just the clutch play. When you say the word superstar, when you hear it out loud, you think of 4 different things. Number 1, you think of a playoff performer, someone that rises to the occasion. Number 2, you think of a franchise changer, the chosen one. Number 3, you think of the production. What are you putting out there, right? And number 4, you think of, what are you doing in the clutch moments? So in clutch this year, De'Aaron Fox has been far and away the best guard in basketball. Efficiency, scoring, he has the intangible factor. The Kings, a franchise that has not made the playoffs since 2006, are on the verge of 50 wins. They have their first winning season. They have maximized De'Aaron Fox, put the right support around him, and they have a 43-win team. So they're on the verge of 150 games. Not only that, but they have the highest offense, not only this season, but in NBA history. Now that's skewed, of course, with a three-point evolution, but the Kings' offense is perfect. It is amazing. Number one, 2-point shooting, top 10 3-point shooting. They have mid-range snipers, mid-range shooters. De'Aaron Fox shoots 78% at the rim and 50% from mid-range. What other guard is doing that? Let me check. None. Not a single one in the NBA. Now, he shoots 33% from three, but he doesn't need a three-point shot. Defensively, he's gotten a little bit better. I think the Sacramento Kings, by all of us, have been overlooked this year. And you know what? I've even taken my shots at Domantas Sabonis, who has clear limitations, but Sabonis has played amazing, his best season. We've gotten to a point at the Sacramento Kings where it's time to start to ask, are they a title contender? Because in this Western Conference, they are the best offense, the most healthy team. The coach of the year, Mike Brown, who has proven in the past he can lead a team to the finals, help lead a team there. And then you also add in the supporting cast. There's not a team in the league that has a better flow, a better fit. It's a mix of the Warriors and the Nuggets. And they've got the two stars at the helm to start this engine, and it's been high-powered. Nothing less.
Yeah. So quick point of order. What is De'Aaron Fox? And full disclosure, I love De'Aaron Fox. I've stated on the show how much I love De'Aaron Fox and how much I would just be in awe if he was a Miami Heat player. And he's made great strides. I mean, he's shooting over 50% from the field for the first time in his career, which is just showing the ability to get better. So I commend him for that. And I've said about the Kings when we ranked our Western Conference, I said they're lacking that star power to compete in the West. Now you say rising superstar. Are you saying he is a superstar, or are you just saying he's a star for right now?
The tier of John Morant, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Devin Booker, he's now entering that discussion.
Are those guys superstars though?
John Morant's a playoff superstar.
No,
Donovan Mitchell has been.
Stop with the. Don't add a caveat. Superstar. Is he a superstar? Are those guys superstars? The guys you just named: Josh, Shai, Devin Booker.
Shai is a superstar. He's at the top. Devin Booker, he's teetering because of last year's Dallas series. John Morant, yeah, John Morant is.
Okay. So those three guys are superstars. Let me ask you a question. How many superstars are in the NBA currently? How many?
There's a dozen.
Huh?
There's close to a dozen.
Close to a dozen. Is LeBron James a superstar?
Yeah, still.
Kawhi Leonard?
Yes, he is.
Steph Curry?
Oh, yeah.
Giannis? KD?
We're at 5 or 6.
Jokic?
Are we at 5 or 6 before Jokic?
We're at 6 right now with Jokic.
Jokic makes it 7.
No, he's 6. Luka?
7.
Yeah, Embiid?
That makes it 8.
AD?
No.
Tatum?
Yes.
Kyrie?
No. You need to play enough games.
Is Damian Lillard still a superstar?
Yep. So at 10?
Devin Booker, you said. So
He's teetering.
Throw Booker in there, throw Ja, throw Shai, and he said De'Aaron Fox is in that category, so throw him. So that's about 14.
Well, we haven't mentioned Donovan Mitchell. That would make it 15.
Donovan Mitchell's a superstar too?
But
all right, so
I said,
and you didn't mention Julius Randle.
Don't interrupt me. I said De'Aaron Fox is entering that discussion.
Well,
so we named 15 players. I ended at 12. I think Donovan Mitchell, De'Aaron Fox, and Devin Booker are in the discussion.
No, you said they were superstars. Justin, did he not just say they were superstars?
You listen to what I said.
You said Shai was a superstar. You said Devin Booker was teetering.
Yep.
And then you keep on saying John Morant is just a playoff superstar. So I don't know if you're calling him a superstar in general or.
But see, here's the thing, right? Devin Booker, a guy who's been to the finals and been to the playoffs multiple times, is a teetering superstar. But Shai is a superstar flat out. You had no
clearly
questions.
Better player. Shai is a
but success has to do with something. Success has to do it. See, my whole John.
There's a difference between.
Didn't he call Jalen Brunson a superstar at one point?
Yes,
I
he
said
did.
Play like a superstar.
See, here's the thing. Here's
Here's
my whole point, John. Here's my whole point.
In the playoffs, too.
You throw around. This is my problem with today's society in general. You throw around these words: GOAT, elite, superstar, like they mean nothing. I mean, it's kind of like the same same word as love. Love is thrown around. I love you. I love you. I love you. It means nothing anymore. Superstar used to mean something. You used to have to be a top 5 player, top 7 player to be a superstar. Now you're branching out to top 15 guys who haven't even been to the playoffs, guys who've gotten bounced in the first round, guys who haven't done anything successful enough just because their talent is better in the regular season. Time out. You're not hearing my point. You're not hearing my point, dude. You're not. There are few superstars in this league. I truly believe that you need to at least have some type of accolades behind you to be considered a superstar. I also believe that name value goes into being a superstar in the NBA. So I'm sorry, Gilgeous-Alexander, no disrespect, great player, has still young, has a bright future ahead of him. Not a superstar, my guy, because he's on the same value. If you're saying he's a superstar, LeBron's a superstar, that don't freaking match up, man. That don't match up. I'm sorry. Damian Lillard, I'll give you that, but he still hasn't had success. Where has he been? Where's he been? So this is
first team All-NBA. Damian Lillard's had one of the greatest point guard seasons we've seen.
The team success has to do with something though too. Your arguments are all over the place with everybody.
Steph Curry had an MVP caliber season in 2021. His team missed the playoffs because they had a crappy offense around him.
I understand.
Damian Lillard's got crappy defense around him.
But I'm not arguing that those great guys are not superstars because they are. I'm arguing you're entering
more superstars than ever.
No, man, because I don't throw that word around. There's levels to this. Superstar is the elite level. Then there's star to me, and then all stars. All right? That's my caliber right there. That's where I go. I would say there's maybe 10 pushing it superstars in the NBA. 10.
What do you consider Jimmy Butler a superstar?
Jimmy Butler is what I would consider, when you were saying making that caveat, a playoff superstar. And I'm admitting I'm making a caveat. I'm admitting it. He's not a superstar where I go, LeBron James, yes, superstar. Jimmy Butler, playoff superstar. You see how I'm caveat? So there's Jason Tatum. We've been trying to give him the chair. We've been trying to give him the seat at the table. He hasn't taken it yet. He's got to take it. He's got the reservations. We keep calling, but he doesn't keep showing up. That's the problem. John Morant, great player. We love him. Box office, not a superstar yet. Maybe in terms of offensive talent, superstar offensive talent, you could say that. But then we've got to be careful. We got to say, I'm making a caveat here. Because superstar is just a different level, my guy. When I say superstar, I mean like
Luka, Giannis,
yes.
Bron. Yes.
That's why I made the caveat. They're entering the discussion. That camp was Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, Ja, and De'Aaron. Those 4 players. If you put them on the outskirts, you've got 11 players, technically 12 when you add in Jimmy Butler. And no, I might have been wrong for calling Jason Tatum a superstar. Could we have this on our first ever show?
No, you didn't. You didn't call him a superstar. You didn't. You said no.
I didn't.
You said no. He's not. I'm bringing him up. We're having the conversation. You said he's not. But that's what I'm saying. The conversation's weird with you, John. Devin Booker and Tatum to you are not superstars. They're teetering, but De'Aaron Fox is also on that level where he's entering it. But Shea is you see, it doesn't make sense. You have to think about that realistically. I'm literally giving you what you have said.
That's why I called Tatum a superstar. And
we need real definitions.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm giving you.
I gave you a definition to start. You had to catch it. Number 1, a player that performs in the playoffs. That's why I'm teetering on Tatum. 2,
where's Shea?
Shea's been so great as a first-team All-NBA performer. This is just his 3rd full season.
Where's his play?
Last 2 years.
That's what I'm saying, though. Why are you pushing him so soon? Why are you pushing him so soon?
He's 24. He's the 2nd best player from a draft class at Luka Doncic. Shea is the 2nd most.
But John, you're pushing a guy so much. You're pushing a guy so much forward before he's even reached his freaking prime. So
by the way,
no level of improvement, John.
Shea and LeBron match up because the Thunder this year got an even better record. They're not even trying to win games, and they've got a better record.
John, you realize you're not giving any of these guys a level of improvement. If Shea's a superstar now, then he's peaked out. Basically, you're saying this guy could be the best player in the world. That's what you're saying. That's his level of improvement.
He was in that camp of Ja, Devin Booker, Donovan.
No, you didn't. You said, I clarified with you. I went down the list. Good. When you edit this, go. I clarify because I want you to clarify. I listen to what you say and I want you to clarify. That's why I ask follow-ups. All right. They always tell you when you're younger, ask questions. No questions is stupid.
Well, now I'm following up and I'm
No,
telling
you're not.
you.
No, you're not. Because I asked you about
I
Shea.
am.
I asked you about Devin. I asked you about Ja, and you clarified. You said Ja, no hesitation. You said superstar.
Well, I do think Ja's at the top of that.
Shea. You said no hesitation. Shea is a superstar. He's not. Jason Tatum's been to the finals. Devin Booker's been to the finals. You can't tell me that those guys are in the same camp as Shea, or Shea is higher than them. That's ridiculous. Because you're pushing them so soon. Let them grow the journey. All you, it's no offense, but you younger guys, you just want to, and we're not that much age apart, but you guys just want to push these guys to the moon so soon. Enjoy the journey. He's 23, Shea. He hasn't even touched his prime. He's 4 or 5 years away from reaching his prime.
And that's why I've got that caveat. They're entering.
You didn't give a caveat. No,
I
you
gave
done.
a
Listen
caveat 3 times.
I think I see there's a difference between superstar and star.
Yes.
You've been listing a bunch of stars, John, and my superstars, and I agree with Brandon on this. It's a small list. It's not this thing that we can just throw out there. So yeah, your Lukas, your Giannis, your Brons, your KDs. I would throw Kyrie. I would Kawhi, Kyrie.
Wait, Kyrie's on, but Tatum's
No,
not?
I don't think Kyrie's on. I don't.
First off, we always say Kyrie is probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest offensive talent in NBA history.
Here's my caveat with Kyrie. Box office offensive superstar. That's my caveat. He's not a true superstar. We wanted him to be. He never got there. He never did it on his own. He never did.
He's more talented than Kyrie.
We thought he could. Talent-wise, I can't argue that, but what he's done as number one, we thought he was when he left LeBron. I think all of us believe, Kyrie can lead a team being a number one option on Boston. He never did it.
Never did it. Okay, that's fine.
That's my caveat.
Superstar category is somebody that's franchise altering. So I'll take out Kyrie, I throw Embiid. Fair?
Is Jokic
Embiid is
20?
closer than Kyrie, but Embiid still has to do a lot. I mean, he hasn't reached the
franchise altering. He's catapulted his team now, carrying them into the playoffs.
Yeah, that's where the superstar, because you would be crazy to say Embiid is just a star, not a superstar. But yet the guy John said never been to the conference finals, and he's had teams. It's just so. I think
but he's also dealt with.
I understand that. That's why it's a hard discussion with Embiid. You'd sound crazy to call him just a star, but it kind of does match up when he's never been in the conference finals. But I'll give you superstar because it just sounds crazy that he's not. He's been in the MVP conversation for the last 2-3 years.
Yeah. And then I'd say the last name I throw in there is Steph.
Steph's in there.
So you're not including Jokic.
No, I would throw in Jokic.
Okay. That's 7.
Two-time MVP, you have to. Two-time MVP.
Yeah, I would throw in Jokic.
Very small list. Very small list. Like you have to, the accolades and the team success and stuff like that, and being a number one guy, they all have to mean something. Like they really, truly do, John. That's why you gotta be careful when you're making caveats and saying these things about certain players. Don't push too soon.
And I'll be honest with you, I know you threw in Jimmy Butler as a playoff superstar, but I would go as far to label him as a superstar for the simple fact of what he means to an organization. I think if you plug him on any team, if you threw him in the Knicks are going to the conference finals. If you threw him on the Lakers are easily a shoo-in to go deep into the playoffs. There's so many places. I think he's one player that you can throw into every organization, and he'll positively impact them. There's no toxic that comes out of Jimmy.
The only caveat I'll give there is
there's some toxic.
If there's some players on that team that he deems are not worthy of his time, there will be toxicity. Because Jimmy's that way.
But that's because he has a standard.
Yes, 100%.
That's the thing.
I'm not saying that, but that comes with Jimmy. He's having it right now. He walked off the court before the time expired against Orlando because he was like, "I'm sick of this shit," and I feel him on that. I'm sick of it too. Guys need to step the hell up. Miami is. I don't even want to. We're not getting to that. I hate regular season basketball. I hope you guys know that. I hope you've read my tweet and saw. I hate regular season basketball, and I even hate Miami Heat regular season basketball. I just hate it.
Even more.
But that's my point. I feel like Jimmy, he has a standard of it's not perfection, but top class basketball.
The only thing that minuses Butler is his numbers in the regular season don't match up with the other guys because he saves it. He doesn't waste he's kind of like Kawhi in that case.
Which is fine. So for us, that's why we know who Jimmy Butler really is.
We know. We know.
The regular season doesn't. His stats in the regular season, while impressive, don't tell you the full story of who he really is as a ball player, which is why I'll catapult him in that superstar level. He's a player. If I could have him on the Knicks today, I'd do anything.
You trade RJ Barrett for him in a heartbeat because he has the willpower.
Yeah.
He's got the
Don't stop
willpower.
it. We're not, no. But I do just, again, like De'Aaron Fox, great player, young player. What is he, 23, 24? That's what I'm saying.
25?
25? Okay, so like still, again, he's like for me, I always say 27, 28 is where you really enter your prime.
Mm-hmm.
And you go until like maybe 32 for certain players. Now, De'Aaron might be different because De'Aaron is a slider player. He might, the contact might add up with him later on in his career, but we'll see. But listen, man, he's a star in this league, but he's not a superstar yet. Maybe he can. I don't know. Maybe he needs a guy to come with him to help him reach that status. And sometimes you do. Everybody needs a dance partner. Everybody does. LeBron needed Wade.
They're tingling.
Yeah. You need a dance partner. You need somebody to make you. Everybody needs somebody to make them. Everybody does.
So shifting gears back to the Kings. A couple weeks ago, I thought they were most likely kind of like Memphis last year, but maybe they're a little bit more like Minnesota from last year, where they're not going to go in the second round. The more I watch this Kings offense, there's not many good defenses in the Western Conference. If they're the healthiest team and they're the hottest offense, the Kings can go to the conference finals.
They can make a run.
Here's the thing with the Kings, right? They're currently tied with Memphis, right? The records are exactly the same. So that's going to be interesting if they get the 2 or the 3 seed, because we know that 7 through like 11 in the West keep changing like every single day. Like literally 2 days ago, the Lakers were the 7 seed.
The rat race.
And now they're 11. So it's going to come down to this. I told John too, that if the Lakers match up with the Kings in the first round, the Lakers are healthy, I'm picking the Lakers to beat the Kings. I'm sorry, but I truly do believe the Lakers.
Fortunately, that's a realm that does not exist. It won't happen.
We don't know that. You don't know that.
We've got 3 years of evidence that says the Lakers are only healthy when they get a 4-month hiatus. And guess what? They won't begin as a playing team. A 4-month hiatus. They're not even getting a 4-day break. They're going to go from one playing game to another playing game to, oh, shit, we're traveling to Sacramento.
100%
The only
agree.
advantage they'll have is the referees trying to get them the series. That's it.
That's a little much. 100% agree with what you said, except for the last point. But AD's healthy right now. As of right now, he is healthy, and he's playing at an elite level when he's on the court. Minus a couple games where he lacked the motivation and stuff. He missed the game against the Rockets, but I think that was more the Lakers saying we should be able to beat the Rockets without AD, and they were not able to do that.
Fortunately, they're not.
So listen, LeBron is I forget when he's being what's the word? Re-examined.
Reevaluated.
Reevaluated. I forget when that is. I think it's maybe next week or this upcoming week. I'm just saying, man, D'Lo is it seems like he has got a fresh of breath air in LA. It seems like he loves it and he's happy to be back. I understand he's had his shortcomings, but listen, a change of scenery can change a lot for a player. All right, a lot for their confidence too. And
he has massive shortcomings.
Okay, that's fine. I get that, but listen, so did Russell Westbrook, and I'd rather have D'Angelo Russell than Russell Westbrook. I mean, 10 times out of 10.
D'Lo is a worse playoff performer than Russ.
I don't give a crap. I don't want 5 turnovers a game. I don't want 40% from the field. I don't want 29%.
D'Lo was at 33% from the field last year, Brian, in the playoffs.
Yeah, but he doesn't shoot 29% from 3. He doesn't shoot 65% from the free throw line. He doesn't turn the ball over at an exorbitant rate. That's what he doesn't do. So I'm just saying, man. Hopefully LeBron's back. If he's freaking healthy, it's. I mean, do we?
Well, the report is he's not close.
Was on when he turned from his birthday on to breaking that record. You forget the tear that guy was on.
The report is though that LeBron's not close to returning from his foot injury, and he's been out since February 26th.
Yep. I think that he might come back at the start of April and play like maybe 1 or 2 games to end the season.
And so the Lakers aren't going anywhere in the playoffs. They're a next year team. If they stay healthy, which will probably not happen. The Lakers are a great theoretical team, and theoretical teams don't win championships.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Play-in tournament. The 10 seed would play the
7 seed.
7 seed, right? if they're lined up to play Golden State, that's the worst possible matchup they could ask for, if you ask me.
For the
If
Lakers?
Andrew Wiggins is back.
For the
We don't
Lakers?
know.
Yeah.
I think that's a great matchup for them because
It's
who's
boy.
guarding AD?
It's more so dealing
Draymond.
with a team that, first off, defending
Draymond.
champion. Yeah, you don't want to run into a team with that much experience
Yeah, but I would,
in a playing game.
I would honestly much rather play the Warriors than the Timberwolves because of Rudy can match up with AD better. There's nobody on the Warriors that can guard AD. And AD, in theory, should have 35 and like 18 against them.
Draymond can guard AD.
No, he cannot.
Kevon Looney.
Didn't they just play like a week ago with no LeBron? And you saw what AD did to him? Didn't they just play? I love Draymond, but size-wise, it does not. AD will body his. He's done it. Don't match up with him. You'll put that little. Come on, man. What the hell is the barbecue chicken? Mac and cheese.
But
Draymond turns up in the playoffs, man.
Yeah. Turn up. No, but again, if the Lakers do, they don't want the 10 seed because I'm pretty sure they have to win 2 games to get in.
yeah, that's the worst case scenario. They don't need that.
Getting the 7 seed is, and again, they flip flop every day, so it's very possible them getting the 7 seed.
Well, in the win column, they're tied with Minnesota, OKC, and Utah. Not Minnesota. I mean OKC and Utah. They're just a game behind them in the loss column.
Yep.
So they're right there. They can instantly jump up to the 8.
And they listen. Their last remaining games, they should be able to beat Orlando. All right, it's in LA. Phoenix without KD, vulnerable. It's a pick'em game.
Just like the Rockets.
Yeah, but AD didn't play that game. I expect AD to play in these games. OKC, that's gonna be a tough game. That's gonna be a very important game because of the records matching up. That's a winnable game again.
Yeah, this is a nice homestand they have. 5 straight homestands.
2 games against Chicago, winnable games, and then Minnesota to end March. Those are all winnable games.
Yep.
And then
the Lakers are a 500 team. So.
And then maybe LeBron comes back for the Houston game on this April 2nd, maybe.
That'd be a good game.
Just to get his feet under him.
Let's just be honest.
It's all in theory. It is. I can't. I'm not going to sit here and die. It's all in theory. It is.
The Lakers aren't going anywhere.
Wouldn't it be great though?
It would. I mean, their defense has been phenomenal. Troy Brown making shots, but
I get it. I understand, John.
The healthiest teams win championships. The Warriors last year were that. The Grizzlies were not. Grizzlies went out in the second round. It's a war of attrition. The Lakers are not there. So that's going to cover everything for the NBA. I'd like to believe.
Yes.
Talked about Zion, the Kings, RJ Barrett, superstars, plus Brandin Cooks, the Cowboys. That leaves us with UFC 286.
And you forgot our beloved baseball topic.
Yeah.
Disrespect. Jesus Christ.
Honesty.
Oh boy. But yeah, UFC 286, hailing from London, England on last Saturday afternoon. Oh yeah, I just remembered Anthony Edwards is in a walking boot. He's out for the season, so that Timberwolves game just opens up.
He's out for the season?
Let's see. Oh no, good news. Sorry, I just read walking boot. Timberwolves All-Star Anthony Edwards has exited a walking boot and is moving around more as swelling decreases. Ankle sprain suffered Friday. He's day to day. Okay, my bad. Apologize. I was just remembering a report I read like a couple days ago that it wasn't looking good. But neither here nor there. UFC 286. So just to highlight a couple matchups to build up to the main event. The first fight of the night was Marvin Vettori versus Roman Dolidze. Solid fight. Close fight. Marvin was able to get the win. I was doing pretty good on my bets leading up to this, but then I kind of got screwed in the next fight. Casey O'Neill versus Jennifer Maia. Casey she looked slow to me in her return fight after I think tearing her ACL last year. Seemed like it was too much too soon for her, but yeah, a big Casey O'Neill fan. She was 9-0, and she was fighting a girl who was who had 30 professional fights, 20 and 9, I think it is. Another thing, shout out Anderson Silva is being inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame. Shout out to one of the GOATs. He is on Mount Rushmore, well earned and well deserved for him. He's my 4th greatest mixed martial artist of all time. I really wish I could have experienced his come up and his reign and his prime, because it was special. I still think one of the greatest calls of all time is Joe Rogan just saying, oh God, what did he say? I think he said, oh my God, he front kicked him in the face. It's just the absolute, just like literally saying what just happened. He front kicked him in the face. Was just great. It's one of the greatest calls to me. So congratulations to the Spider, Anderson Silva, one of the GOATs of all time, 100% on the Mount Rushmore of MMA. Well deserved. Next up, we had Barberena versus Gunnar Nelson. That was a pretty quick fight. It ended in one round. Gunnar, I should say, was able to get the takedown, move to full mount very slickly. And then once he got full mount, he was working for that armbar, and he got it with pretty much ease and was able to get the submission late in the first round. Then we move on to the co-main event, which was, I believe, the people's main event. And it was as advertised. What an effing fight that was. Rafael Fiziev versus Justin the Highlight Gaethje. Gaethje does not disappoint. This man, I truly believe, I'd love to hear the argument from other people, the most exciting fighter in MMA and UFC history. This guy doesn't have a boring fight. I've only followed his UFC career from his first fight against Michael Johnson back in 2018, I believe. None of his UFC fights have been boring. I mean, you could watch all of them and just have a grand old time. The guy just stands and bangs. This fight actually surprised me with, he shot for takedowns on Rafael, which I've never seen before from Justin Gaethje. But he said after the fight in the post-fight interview, I got my takedown, so y'all can shut the F up now about that. Just a shot at everybody saying, because he's an NCAA champion. He's a very good wrestler, and he just doesn't use his wrestling because he likes to go in there and just bang. But what a fight. I had it 1-1 going into the third. Fiziev started off great in the third, being able to land some big shots, rocking Gaethje. But then Gaethje was able to completely take over and control the fight with the jab, landing it over and over again. And Gaethje was able to stiff arm another up-and-comer Hungry Lion, trying to take his spot. So Gaethje wins. I'll mention fights to make after this event, after the main event. But here we go. The main event. Leon Rocky Edwards, the world champion, the reigning defending champion, taking on Kamaru Usman, the former champ, in their trilogy fight. Now, this went much different than I thought, but I had a feeling it could have went this way. Round one, Leon did very well, like he did in the second fight. He won that with pretty much ease. I was very surprised with Usman's lack of wrestling and clinch in the first round, but then you kind of, by the end of the fight, there wasn't much wrestling and clinching from Usman, as much as you would have expected, or as I expect. I thought it was going to be heavy. Round two was very close. I could see it going either way. I gave it to Usman live in the moment. So I had a 1-1 going in the third. And then the third was a weird round. The third was the round with the fence grab and the kick to the groin. Leon had, I think, about 4 fouls this fight. Got 1 point taken away. The fence grab was egregious. It was bad. I agree with the point deduction. Right thing to do. I disagree with not giving him Usman position back. He should have gave position back against the fence with the arms around him. It's just standing them back up and faced it is just not the right move. It was so egregious that you got to take the point away and give position back. I just truly believe that. So,
and he got a point taken off as well for the glove grab as well. No,
he didn't. It was just 1 point. He got a warning for all the other fouls. It's weird in the UFC. These refs seem very scared to take a point away, to deliver authority. I've watched. I'm telling you from person. I've watched over. These refs just feel like they don't want to because they're impacting because taking a point away is you basically lose the round. You basically, because the 10-9 must system. So you even saw it in Herb. Like he was listening to Leon's argument. Like you're a ref. You're the authority. No, you don't get to argue. Get your ass in the middle of the octagon. Give me your wrist, and I'm going to say 1 point, 1 point, 1 point. Like there's no argument here. That's just a minor little thing that grinds my gears.
God, deliver authority. I mean, if NBA fans had that type of mindset, Brandon, boy, would basketball be better. We should just flip
Yeah,
them. Give NBA fan refs, throw them in the cage and
it's
reverse for both
it's
sports.
just
No.
it's bad. It's bad. So I just feel like, listen, man, you're gonna take the point away, stand on it, and just be like, no, I'm not listening to your argument. Because Leon was like, no, like, come on, man, please, come on, man, please, you can't, like, it's like, no, man, you egregiously took it. But continuing on that third round, I felt Usman coasted after that. I felt like he thought, this round's in the bag, because it's almost impossible for you to lose the round now with the 10-9 must system, with the point getting taken away. One judge scored it on the scorecards 9-9. He gave it a draw for a round because Usman really didn't do much, and I completely could see that. I thought it was 10-9. I just gave Usman the slight edge. I didn't see 10-8, which I think two judges might have given Usman for that round. I did not see 10-8, but I can hear the argument for 9-9. Round 4 was another close round. I gave Leon the slight edge in that one. So going into the 5th, I had it 2-2 live. Then round 5, these rounds were so freaking close. I gave it to Usman again live. After the round, I just said, I thought Usman was able to edge it out just at the end of the round. But again, it was so close, and I can hear the argument for Leon. So going into the ref's decision, the judge's decision, I should say, I thought it was 49-48 all the way around for Usman. But I even tweeted live. I said I got Usman winning the 5th. I got him winning 3 rounds to 2. Very close fight. I could see Leon getting the nod, but I have it 49-48 for Usman, winning rounds 2, 3, and 5, with Leon winning round 1 and 4. The final decision was Leon won by majority decision, 48-46, 48-46, and 47-47. So I'm not going to argue that. I get it. I can hear the argument. I can see how that happened. I just feel like for me, it was 2, 4, and 5 were the closest rounds. And those ones you can honestly give to anybody. We're splitting hairs here. Yeah. I feel like 1 and 4 were kind of the clearest to me. Leon won round 1. Usman had 3. It's 2, 4, and 5 for me that were the ones that were super razor thin. It really is. I mean, I just felt like Usman needed to do more. Like hearing Leon win, I could see it. He landed the bigger shots. He defended the takedowns well. He was able to get up and not be controlled as much. And Usman he didn't do as much. The wrestling wasn't there. The clinching wasn't there. It was lacking. He looked a little tentative at times, even though he stood for the majority of the fight. I truly did feel like Usman was going to be more tentative than he was. But this one, it was just, I felt like he wanted to prove a point. He wanted to knock Leon out because he wanted to get his get back. And that might have played a part in his downfall, where it should have been just strict rest and clinch game, grinding up against the cage. But it just wasn't. He fell in love with the boxing.
And I felt like Leon, Brandon, he just continued to chip away one inside leg kick at a time after another.
He landed,
and
like
you can tell later on in the fight that got to Usman, especially by the 5th round, where at that point it was just like Leon's gaining control about those little leg kicks throughout the entire fight. And I kind of wonder if that affected his muscles. Brian Suter actually made a video documenting it and how that can affect you, the head of the fibula, when you continue to kick it again and again. And all of a sudden, you saw Usman start to slow down. And Leon was just faster, more rapid. And one thing that also impressed me, the takedown defense by Edwards, because Usman, Kamaru tried to get him. He, of course, had some assistance hold on to the cage, the glove grab. But hey, by any means necessary, he was able to defense on the takedown, just hold up and not get into a submission. So that was really impressive to me as well. Especially, I think, was it the 3rd round? Phenomenal job by him. And that was really the deciding factors to me in this fight.
Yeah. I mean, the leg kicks, if the stats are right, these stats are usually not fully correct, but Leon 50 of 53 on leg kicks. And I mean, shout out to Usman. Listen, there's been fights. There was a fight, I think, last week in Bellator where the guy said, listen, after the second leg kick, I was done. I was done. because it can completely compromise your base. 2 leg kicks, man. 2. You're done in the first round, and you have no base anymore. You can't lean, you can't bounce off it or anything, get any power on it. It's crazy. So 100% those leg kicks played a big factor. The body kicks, they didn't count it as a drop, but I think it was in the first round where he hit him with the massive body kick and it stumbled Usman. So that was major too. It just, Usman didn't fight the way I thought he was. I think he really wanted to get the knockout and get his get back, and just that just wasn't the smart fight. Your fight was grind up against the cage, get the takedowns. That is who you are. So Leon Edwards wins, retains his title. He's moving on now. And after the fight, Dana White in the post-fight press conference, and the guy was in the crowd. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but one Mr. Colby Covington is going to be getting the title shot. Probably maybe International Fight Week in July, maybe late July or August if they go back to London and they want to headline that. Listen, I get Colby getting the fight. I get it. He's one of the bigger stars in there, but it's just he hasn't competed in an entire year. And there's a guy out there in Bilal Muhammad who has been competing, and that is he hasn't competed. Bilal is the 4th ranked welterweight. He hasn't gotten a shot at the world championship. And Bilal and Colby should have been fighting from Bilal fought in October. They should have fought somewhere in between October and now to set up. That was the number 1 contender fight. The winner of that fight gets the winner of Leon versus Usman 3. But UFC is going to do what UFC does. Now Bilal is fighting Shavkat, who's the undefeated guy that we just witnessed 2 weeks ago. Get the finish. So good luck with that, Bilal. But Leon was not happy when the media told him that Colby was next. Leon said, I don't get that. I don't think he deserves it. And he said, listen, I'm the king now, and I think I should have a say in who fights for the title next. And he brought up a guy in the name of Jorge Gamebred Masvidal, who is one of my favorite fighters. Now, they have a storyline in the history with each other. These guys go back circa 2019 in March in the O2 Arena in London. Jorge coming back from a year off, growing his hair out and calling this the resurgence or the Renaissance, I believe it was. And he was calling it, he was going to straight up baptize fools. And he went on a 3-fight streak where he was absolutely became a superstar overnight. His knockout against Darren Till in London in March flatlined him. His 5-second knockout against Ben Askren in July of 2019, where he hit the flying knee, which has been posted all over social media for years. And the fight for the BMF title in Madison Square Garden against Nate Diaz. Those made him an absolute a superstar. He's the 3rd biggest box office star in the UFC right now, signed to the company behind Conor and John Jones. He's been on a 3-fight skid. He lost to Usman twice, won by knockout. He lost to Colby. But listen, Leon said, if we're talking pay-per-views and Colby's the guy, if we're talking pay-per-views, then Masvidal's the guy because Masvidal sells. Colby does not sell. He might think he sells, but he doesn't. Jorge does sell. So if Jorge maybe go ahead.
He was trying to sell in the post-game interview, just try to crap.
He does that. That's Colby's. I don't want to expose it, but he's a character. It's been exposed already. He plays a role. That's not who he is. He was going to be cut by the UFC years ago because they saw him as a boring fighter and he didn't have a persona or anything. They just didn't find interest in him. And he had to change up he had to make a gimmick, quote unquote, like in professional wrestling. And he went full heel. And, he called Brazilians a bunch of filthy animals. And went on a tirade. He wore the MAGA hat because this was when Trump was going, hard, and he drove into that train and he became the bad guy. Hey, listen, it saved his job, but he still doesn't sell for some reason because when he gets into the cage, it's not the most exciting fight. He's not an exciting fighter. He's a grinder. He's a wrestler. His striking is basic. So I guess we're getting Leon versus Colby. Even if Leon doesn't want it, the UFC is going to say, yeah, you have no say in it. This is our company and this is the fight we're going to do. So that's the fight. But I really am holding on hope that we get Leon versus Jorge because I forgot to mention that. I don't know if you guys know about this, the history between Leon and Jorge, why it's a storyline, why it needs to happen. So Jorge came back in March in the O2, and Leon was fighting on that card too. And Jorge was doing a backstage interview. And Leon was off to the side. And you can watch this. It's all on film. All on film. Leon was off to the side talking some crap. I forget exactly what he said to Jorge, but Jorge said, what you got to say? What you got to say? You'll say that to my face. And Jorge walks over to him. Jorge's got his hands behind his back as he recounts. And you can see on video because, you know, when you're having a conversation and you don't want physical anything to happen, hands behind your back. I'm coming to show you that I'm disarmed and we can just have a civil conversation. He walks up to him. They're getting in the face. I guess Leon says a little too much disrespectful stuff to Jorge. And Jorge's quote of 3-piece and a soda is born, cracks him with a 3-piece, busts up his face, and it becomes a whole spiel. So that's their history and their storyline between each other. They got the bad blood. That's going to sell big. I'm holding out hope for that fight. I love that fight. It's a great fight for Jorge because it's more of a stand-up fight. But certain things have to go right for that fight to happen. Obviously, Jorge's got to beat Gilbert Burns in 3 weeks in April. So that's first order of duty. So, but I'm holding out hope. But it looks like we're getting Leon versus Colby.
And Colby and Masvidal have
big beef
history as well too.
Yeah,
right?
they were best friends, teammates, turned rivals, and they fought last year. And then even what's it called? After the fight, like in the streets, Jorge allegedly jumped him and cracked him in the face. That's an ongoing court issue though right now. Yeah, they don't like each other at all. So
yeah. Jorge is getting into a lot of these little mix-ups, man.
Well, listen, he's game bred for a reason. You don't talk about somebody's family and get away with it like that. So
no, that's facts. He reminds me of Jokic in the clutch.
Jokic in the clutch.
Not for real. But with all that being out of the way, that's gonna wrap up everything I've got to say.
Got to say, yep. UFC 286 wrapped up. 3 weeks, we're getting another pay-per-view. UFC 287, which is even bigger too. It's going to be more stacked card in Miami, which is going to be great. We got March Madness, guys. That's great. You know what's going on.
FDU, bro. How about that?
My bracket.
USA baseball tonight.
Yeah.
How about that?
No, I've got FDU to watch. I want to give a shout out to
Nice, man. Would you just take the L? Just take it.
I want to give a shout out to Tobin Anderson and the Fairleigh Dickinson Knights. Yeah, FDU Knights. FDU goes into Purdue. Biggest player goes into wherever it was in the Midwest. Against 7'4" Zach Edey, and they show them up as the 16th seed. Second time it's ever happened in NCAA history March Madness. First time was in 2018 when UMBC got Virginia. The following year, Virginia goes on a run all the way. But man, let me just say, what FDU just did as the small school in Division I, literally, but also a team that, you know, small enough to barely be in Division I, it's unbelievable, and it's also a testament that Purdue are frauds. Last year they lost to, how am I forgetting that? St. Peter's last year, and then this year FDU gets them. St. Peter's is the 15th seed. Princeton, they're going to the, what is it, the Sweet 16? Princeton, man, how about them? I didn't think they'd really win their first two, but here we are. Basketball needs New Jersey, and New Jersey has basketball.
My sleeper got spanked.
Who was your team? You were Illinois, right?
Yeah.
It's all right. Mine was UNC Asheville. They got.
Is everybody's?
I had Iona as my sleeper.
Is everybody's final two teams still in contention? I had Bama and UConn.
Bama and Illinois.
I had Texas and
Illinois is out, right? Illinois is out, Justin?
Are they?
I don't know. I'm asking.
Now I'm asking.
I know UConn and Alabama are still in. UConn plays St. Mary's today.
Like I said, my brain has been wrapped around the WBC.
Texas escaped Penn State last night, so they're still alive. Penn State too. I mean, what a huge dominating
Pitt's
when they
playing
had
right
over
now.
Texas A&M. Pitt, of course, they've got Xavier. Auburn, They got
Illinois lost. Bracket busted.
Yeah, FDU is going to beat FAU, and then they're going to play Tennessee. Tennessee beat Duke. I didn't have Duke going, but yeah. I also think UCLA and Gonzaga. Gonzaga plays TCU today. That'll be very important to monitor.
So while you are enjoying your March Madness tonight, USA takes on Cuba. Adam Wainwright is on the mound, repping the US of A. Should be a great game. I'm telling you guys. I know you guys knock it, but in all honesty, for baseball in general, a lot of people has called into question about this tournament, saying that it's meaningless. A couple players getting injured and affecting their big league ball clubs. And Puerto Rico's squad. There we go. Puerto Rico's closer, Edwin Diaz, who's the closer of the New York Mets, getting paid $20 million a year, ended up getting his season basically ruined, celebrating a victory over the Dominican Republic. And people saying how meaningless this tournament is. For everybody, maybe the USA doesn't care as much as they probably should. And I'll be honest, they really need to start caring about this. Countries like Mexico, PR, DR, Japan, Cuba, Venezuela, all these places, they care so much. This is something that they look forward to every 4 years. This baseball is their country's pride. And it's funny stat that I saw is that there's more attendance. Over 1 million people have attended these games in the WBC. That's more people that have attended this than the Oakland A's had in attendance all of 2022. People care about this. Yeah, enjoy the game tonight. And yeah, that's how you properly say it. It's Cuba.
Cuba. I like
Cuba.
Cuba.
A's need to bring back Billy Bean. That's the issue.
USA.
There we go. And we've done at my job, we've partnered with USA Baseball. So I have like way too much USA Baseball gear, but it's actually pretty sick. I love the logo. I'll be rocking my USA fleece today.
I'll be watching today, Justin. What time is it on? FS2?
7 o'clock on FS1, I believe.
FS2. I keep
on FS1. He said FS2 on purpose.
No free promos.
But yeah, enjoy it, guys.
Cowboys are frauds, Nuggets are not, and
Aaron Rodgers' move has still not happened yet, guys.
There you go.
Still waiting.
It's not going to happen anytime soon. I don't think
Brian
so.
Gutekunst. No, I don't have to say
Told you. Who's in the catbird seat? Why is the trade not happen if the Jets are in the catbird seat?
Both teams have leverage.
I'm telling you, Aaron Rodgers literally has to say, if fine, you don't want to trade me, pay me $60 million. I'm going to make Jordan Love's life uncomfortable. And you're going to have to see me I'm going to do the minimum.
He's not playing on the team.
Here's my other thing. Did you guys see the news that
taking off this hat, Justin, now?
You guys wanted to get into this.
Yeah. Michael Jordan is selling the Hornets.
I did hear that.
To be honest with you guys, that needs to happen. I think having a minority owner is great, and I hope MJ stays in the NBA to some extent, but the Hornets have been a family-run operation and the worst run family-owned operation in the NBA. There's no reason Mitch Kupchak should be a GM, and you look at their recent moves, they had LaMelo Ball fall into their laps. There's nothing the Hornets do well as a franchise. They don't draft well. They don't develop talents. They don't have a good coach. They haven't found the right coach. They don't have a culture. I mean, their culture is probably the worst in the NBA. It might be worse than the Rockets. There's nothing good the Hornets really have other than the fact LaMelo Ball fell right into their laps. And so they need to get a new owner in there, someone that's going to invest more money into the team, that's going to actually hire good people at their jobs, and will trust them to do their jobs, because Michael Jordan hasn't done that. This needs to happen, but I really hope Michael Jordan still stays in the NBA to some extent, because one of the greatest players there, probably one of the greatest athletes of all time. The NBA does need Michael Jordan, just not as an owner that's making terrible decisions for his team.
Yeah, he's done so much for the game. You want to keep him around the sport. I get that. But that'll do it.
I think he's selling to David Tepper.
Oh.
Let's see. He's selling to a hedge fund billionaire. That would be David Tepper. Nope, it's not. It's some guy that owns the Hawks. Whatever. With all that being said, I'll wrap up episode number 86 of the Wise Guys podcast. I'm John Tortorelli, Brandin Cooks. We'll see you next time.
USA! USA!
Damn!
Classy.